The measure of a man's success in life is not by noise-making or the number of wealth garnered over the years, but the ability to build men that will in turn shape the society for the benefit of all. Such is this gentle, calm, collected, brave and God-fearing man, Comrade Dr. Solomon Adelegan Adeniran JP, raised without a silver spoon in his mouth, but chose hard work, commitment and determination to become a successful man in life. Born in 1963 to the family of King and Princess Adelegan of Igoba in Akure North local government area of Ondo State, the young Adelegan began his elementary education at St. Matthew Primary School, Igoba, which took him years to complete due to financial constraints. And upon completion, the articulate and vibrant union leader.
Coming to Adelegan, he's been a father to us. He's more education. Whenever we are in need of him, we go to him and immediately any problem we take to him, he will solve it for us.
Proceeded to Igoba Community High School for his secondary education. Although he cleared many of his papers, Comrade Adelegan took a break to take up a casual job in order to raise money to sponsor his tertiary education. He eventually gained admission into the prestigious Federal Polytechnic Ado-Ekiti in Ekiti State, where he bagged a national diploma and a higher national diploma in marketing in 1996 and 2000 respectively. He followed it up with a Bachelor and Masters of Science degrees in Business Administration at the Achievers University, Owo, in 2014 and 2019. He recalled his experience while growing up as a man who came from a very humble background.
When I was promoted to primary 6, I was one of the best students. I remembered there was no time from my primary 1 to primary 6 that I came fourth. It's either first, second, or third positions. One sad incident that I will never forget in my life is a day that my mother borrowed money from one particular man to pay my school fees. And a piece of land was given to my mother to make heap, so that as compensation for the money she borrowed. Unfortunately, by the time I finished, when we closed in the school, I went to meet my mother in the farm. I already saw the man beating up my mother, telling her, well, you know you will not be able to refund this money on time. Why must you collect this money? And for the past 3 days, you are unable to make 200 hips as a woman. In my presence, the man was beating up my mother. I was crying. My mother was crying. As a result of that, after repeated from my 3 times, I told my mother, when my mother said, Solomon, you need to repeat once again. Oh, by next year, the money we are able to gather, we will now further your education. That was how I left Igoba to Akure, living with my sister, and I was doing casual labor that time too. I stayed home for another 1 year as a laborer, working at Top and Coca-Cola depots, where I was helping people who wanted to buy drinks then to load and offload. And at the end of the day, they will pay me 5 naira. So I worked as a laborer for a year before I could get money to go back to secondary school.
Comrade Solomon Adelegan Adeniran JP started work with the Ondo State government as a casual laborer in 1986 and later converted as a technical assistant on grade level 3 with the Ondo State Water Corporation having passed the conversion examination. This dynamic, smart, intelligent and soft-spoken labor leader rose through the ranks, and today he is retiring from the service of the state government as Director of Commercial Services in the State Water Corporation under the Ministry of Water Resources, Public Sanitation and Hygiene.
After the completion of my secondary school, there was no money again to go to the institution. Despite the fact that I sat for JAMB and I passed once. My school certificate, my school SAT, I sat for it once and had my 5 credits, but no money to further. That was how I was employed into Water Corporation as a casual laborer, daily paid. Then we were paid 4 naira 16 kobo in a day. At the end of the month, we are paid 90 naira. I did that for about 2 years before I sat down for conversion examination, which I passed. And that was how I was fully engaged as a civil servant in the Ondo State Water Corporation.
While in service, Comrade Adelegan was actively involved in union activities that spanned about 3 decades.
And what are we talking about? This 80,000 naira is equal to 600 naira per day. How can a man, a wife, with just 2 children sustain themselves with 600 naira per day? And our own state government is offering 13,000 naira. Is that not too ridiculous? In those states, 250 naira per day. Nobody must go back to work. No amount of threat, victimization, intimidation, blackmail, whatever. We are sure, and we are saying boldly, we are not sponsored by anybody. We have been on this matter since 2009. So once again, for your support, for your solidarity, for your encouragement, we want to thank our workers.
He began his activities into unionism as a branch secretary, NUPCE, Idosi local government area of Old Ondo State between 1989 to 1993. NLC local government branch chairman, Idosi, between 1993 to 1997. He was also the coordinating chairman of OPTA, Ondo State Water Corporation, between 1997 and 2006. He was also the chairman, Joint Action Committee of all parastatals in Ondo State between year 2000 to 2005. He was also the state chairman, Amalgamated Union, Ondo State from 2006 to 2013. State chairman, Joint Public Service Negotiation Council, Ondo State, 2010 to 2017. He later became the national president, Amalgamated Union of Public Corporation, Civil Service, Technical and Recreational Services Employees, OPTA, from 2013 to 2017, and the vice president, Nigeria Labour Congress, 2014 to 2018.
During his time as a state chairman in this state, so many labor leaders, even outside the Amalgamated Union, among other industrial unions in the state, benefited when we talk of training and retraining of workers, of leaders. Took many of us outside the country, Ghana, Israel, Turkey, and so on and so forth. He has made a lot of things which by today can never be forgotten. Among this secretariat where we are today, he was the founding father of this secretariat. He made everything humanly possible to make sure we generate funds to build this secretariat.
Yes, talking about the legacy of our boss, Comrade Solomon Adelegan. When he was the chairman on the State Council, he inaugurated us. That was when we joined the union. And there were a lot of problems we faced that time. He stood before us, and that place was not pensionable at that time. But during his own time, today, that place became pensionable, and we're having the best pension today in Ondo State.
Solomon Adelegan, in fact, àwọn náà mú mi wọ ẹgbẹ́ union. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ràn mí lọ́wọ́ tí mo fi dé gòkè dé chairperson to the level of Western Zone. Mo ṣe zonal chairperson àwọn obìnrin ní state mẹ́fà. Àti pé tá bá dẹ̀ tún wò wọ́n dáadáa, oríṣiríṣi nǹkan ribiribi náà ti gbé ṣe nínú ayé àwọn òṣìṣẹ́. Pàápàá àwọn typist, àwọn tó ń tẹ̀wé, àwọn lọ́lọ́run lò fún wọn, tó ń gbé wọn láti level 8 sí level 14 tá ń gbàdé ní eléni ní Ondo State. Mo dẹ̀ wá wò from other state gan mi rò pé irú ẹ̀ ṣẹlẹ̀, ṣùgbọ́n lásìkò tí wọ́n ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Ondo State yìí. So a dúpẹ́ púpọ̀ lọ́wọ́ wọn gan ni.
Mr. Solomon Adelegan happened to be our leader. He was a two-time chairman of Joint Negotiating Council in Ondo State before he stepped up to the position of the president of his union. And I must confess, during his own tenure, that was the period of relativity. Then he did everything, though it was a tug of war between the organized labor and the state government then. That was during the regime of Governor Olusegun Mimiko. But he did everything that, to the extent that all the workers benefited the increment. He was a great leader that Ondo State has ever produced.
Comrade Solomon Adelegan Adeniran JP has traveled far and wide and traversed all states of Nigeria to attend seminars, workshops, conferences, Opta National Executive Council and Governing Council meetings. He equally attended several international engagements outside the shores of Nigeria, represented the country in Togo, Ghana, Ethiopia, South Africa, Egypt, Jerusalem, Australia, Geneva, France, London, UK, and USA, just to mention a few. Comrade Adelegan is a recipient of several awards, which include Justice of Peace Award by Area Engineer Manager Akure Year 2000, Award of Competence by Opta Waste Management Branch 2010, Career LA, Our Leader Award NLC Women Wing 2010, Award of Excellence Career Labor Leader Lead Times 2011, Award of Excellence Trade Magazine 2012, Award of Excellence by Rotary Club 2012, Award of Honor by National Union of Postal and Telecommunications 2012, Award as a Worthy Ambassador Opta 2013, Award of Excellence by International Association of Lions Club 2014, Lead Times Africa Leadership Prize 2015, National Outstanding Leadership Award by National Association of Polytechnic Students 2015, Icon of Moses Great Leader Award and Distinguished Old Students 2015, Honorary Doctor of Philosophy in Humanitarian Services from State University of New York 2015, Ashiwaju of Yoruba Youth, Nigeria and Diaspora by National Association of Yoruba Students 2016, and Excellence Humanitarian Award in 2021. Top personalities who have engaged with this great labor leader, including a former governor of Ondo State, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, described him as a man full of wisdom, calm, and loyal to his cause of championing the welfare of his colleagues.
Now, I got to know Solomon Adelegan as governor of Ondo State in 2009. He was then the chairman of the Joint Negotiating Council of Workers. So I had the opportunity to have several encounters with him. You see, first thing that will strike you about Solomon Adelegan is that he's an introvert, such a quiet, easygoing person. Then you just wonder, there's this mindset that for you to be a labor leader, you must be extroverted and all of that. But this is a very quiet, easygoing person. I keep saying, anytime I see him, it reminds me of this term made popular by Smokey Robinson in the 70s, quiet storm. He's quiet, introverted, but in terms of collective bargaining, he's an expert. He has a way with words, he's deep in thought, and when he comes out, you have no doubt in your mind that this guy really knows his onions. We had many encounters, especially negotiating wages and welfare of workers. Perhaps it is the biggest testimonial to his effectiveness that during his time, we did a review of workers' salary, including the relativity. I'm not sure there are too many states that actually did that, but we did it. It's also a testimony to his tenacity that we approved 22,000 minimum wage, even when 18,000 was still controversial then. And even as of now, I understand some states are yet to implement 18,000. As at that time, we approved 22,000 minimum wage. We sent workers for training and retraining, both nationally and internationally. Even the 13th month, we paid workers. Those were glorious days of unionism. And so when eventually he got catapulted or got promoted, so it didn't come as a surprise to me when I got the information that he'd been elected as a national president of his union, amalgamated union of public corporations officer. And I know that in my mind that he will succeed. And my information he gave a good account of himself. He's at 60, he's retiring, but I can see a lot of energy. I can see many glorious years ahead of him. I must also see the opportunity to thank him that perhaps his own way of reciprocating a gesture was that I think he was one of those that was instrumental to the whole of the labor movement in Nigeria endorsing our second term, rallying with us, putting on our vests and all of that. I must always thank him for that. Having said all of this, I wish him all the very best. I wish him glorious years ahead. I'm sure this is one union leader who has been very effective, who is a consummate bargainer, and who has a lot to show for it. Quiet man, but like I said, it's a quiet storm.
Also, a former head of service and the chairman of Ondo State Civil Service Commission, Mr. Ajose Kudeimbu, and the current head of service in Ondo State, Pastor Kayode Ogundele, lauded him for being a driving force that fought for the increment of workers' salaries in the state during his time as JNC chairman.
Well, a lot can be said about Solomon, who was a labor leader during my time as head of service. Before then, I did not quite know him. I'm not even sure I had met him before I became head of service. At the time he became the labor leader in the state, if I remember, a director was earning less than 100,000 naira per month. By the time I left, when he was still leader of labor in the state, a director was earning far more. And on 5 occasions, salaries were increased. So that a director now, if I remember, was earning maybe about 150,000 at the time. So that's a lot of achievement. But all that was possible because the labor force, the labor movement had a dynamic person as leader. for the increases we had under different names, relativity, increments, and so on and so forth. So I would say he did very well as a labor leader.
Solomon Adelegan, comrade, is a well-known name, an household name in the labor family. If you want to talk about how far I've known him, he's one of those people when we meet any ordinary day that I call them my leaders, because no matter what, whenever they come and we have cause to discuss or chat on anything that has to do with the workers' welfare, I will tell them, look, my welfare is also affected. And so I always tell them they are not, if they say they are coming and they are coming to meet me on government side, I say they are deceiving themselves. We are all on the same side. So if we are talking about people in government side, I will say it's PSS staff and it's people. So me, I'm with them. So we have been, it's a friendly, very, has a very convivial attitude, very open. And I think it has been a wonderful time working with him. He's a quintessential labor leader. I see him as a labor leader that has the interest of his people in mind. And like my governor will always say, is one of those labor leaders that is very exceptional, because they are pragmatic. He's one of them.
I've known Comrade Adelegan for quite some time now. I've come to see him as a highly responsible public officer. I remember that before he got to the national level as president of his union, he was also our chairman in Ondo State as chairman of Joint Negotiating Council. And he did very well, especially in those difficult times when challenges came for government in payment of salaries and all that. Introduction of minimum wage, when they had to be involved in a lot of struggle and negotiations with government side. And I think he did it very well. And he discharged his duties without even exhibiting any sign of indiscipline and disrespect to constituted authority. And I believe he achieved much during his time.
The Commissioner for Water Resources, Public Sanitation and Hygiene, Right Honorable Fatai Aburumaku Olotu, said Adelegan's contribution to unionism and the public service will remain indelible.
I got to know him when I got here. So barely some few months, it's not up to a year now. But from what I discovered when I got here, I will see him as a quintessential comrade. So a civil servant who knows his onions very well. And from my findings, he has been involved in unionism for a very long time, virtually all his life in the civil service. And through those periods, I think, through all the offices he has occupied in unionism and the civil service, he has garnered much experience. So to the extent that he has become a stabilizer of the corporation. He has enormous respect from the management and staff of the ministry. And at critical moments in the ministry, so the person to call upon, so to make sure that we resolve critical moments, critical issues, so that will move the ministry forward. So he has paid his dues, there is no doubt about that. So, and if there are categories of people who are even due for extension of service, if I have to recommend just one officer here for extension of this thing, I think it will be one of those people I will critically consider.
In the same vein, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Water Resources, Public Sanitation and Hygiene, Alhaji Olabode Yusuf, and the General Manager, Ondo State Water Corporation, Engineer Adebisi Oyebode, all saluted his courage and tenacity during his days as union leader.
Comrade Solomon Adelegan is a fantastic officer. He's somebody I would call a one of a kind. This is an officer that brings so much vibrancy, enthusiasm into his official duties. And I can tell you for free that he will be sorely missed when he eventually leaves the service. And I know he'll be remembered for his contributions to the improvement of the welfare of the workers, not only in Water Corporation, but in Ondo State. So it's somebody that brings so much vibrancy into any atmosphere, particularly the work atmosphere, whenever he's around. And on the occasions, many occasions I've had to engage with him, I've never failed to see his humility. Comrade Solomon Adelegan is a classic example of an officer who is humble, who is dedicated to his duties, and never fails to offer very valuable advice to the management.
Yeah, for me personally, Comrade Dr. Solomon Adelegan is a man of many parts. From the interaction that we have had with him for a couple of years, say some 20, 25 years ago, I see him as a man of wisdom. He is very cool, collected, and morally upright. I observe one thing about him. He has the love and passion for the workers, especially Ondo State workers, before he moved to the federal level, and he has ever remained so. And when it comes to the issue of telling ourselves the home truth, he never shied away from it.
This great union leader is a member of both social and professional association. He is the president of Like Minds Associates of Nigeria, Akure, member of the Nigeria Institute of Marketing, and a member of the Nigeria Institute of Management.
Comrade Dr. Solomon Adelegan, to me, is a friend, is a brother, and of course, a leader. Of course, he is the president of Like Minds Associates of Nigeria, of which I am his general secretary. And if we are going to talk about that club, he is the mover and shaker of that club. With him, you can be rest assured that things will fall in place.
Since I know Comrade Adelegan, people that are under him is a man that he will see that the welfare of people is his priority. He will not allow cheating. He will not allow people under him to be cheated, and is always a man of justice.
Comrade President Solomon Adelegan is a man of the people. Of course, for the workforce of Ondo State, is an action man and a man that always fight for the right of the people. He doesn't take cheating. He loves people and is a man of the people. And of course, for me personally, I cannot forget him in my life. He always wants you to progress in your career. So where am I today? I cannot forget him.
He's a man of total patience, blessing, that contain ability to work under pressure, ability to work and achieve results. In fact, Comrade Doctor is a leader to the core. You see, let me put it this way. When there are many bakers in the street, do you need to perform an experiment to know whose cake is the best? No, the best is being adjusted through their product. The product of this man is excellent, is superb, and working under him is really a blessing. I've learned so many things, even unionism, ability to negotiate successfully, and ability to harness and put different things together to work in respect of this corporation.
He is a devoted Christian who has embarked on the holy pilgrimage to Jerusalem, JP. Comrade Adelegan is also an usher and protocol in Christ Apostolic Church, Oke-Ileri-Oluwa, Oke-Ago, Akure.
Prince Solomon Adelegan is a very good member of my church. He's a very humble person, very fervent for the work of God. He's somebody you can emulate his character in every way. He's so dedicated and so hardworking, and this is obvious in his work towards God. In the Church of God, he's an usher, which shows humility if you consider his position in the society as a very senior civil servant and as a great unionist. I want to bless God for his life because he had lived an exemplary life among his colleagues in the Church of God and among his family. I can say he's a very good man who is very happy when it comes to helping other people to achieve their goals and aspirations. So I want to congratulate him on the occasion of this event.
Tí a bá sọ pé kí ènìyàn pàdé ènìyàn tàbí kí ènìyàn máa rí ènìyàn kó dẹ̀ máa bú sẹ́rìn, ẹ mọ nǹkan tí ìyẹn tó túmọ̀ sí. Wọ́n rẹ́ lòmíì tẹ́ bá jí tẹ́ bá pàdé ẹ padà lọ sùn padà. Ṣùgbọ́n ṣá ọ̀gá ẹ jẹ́ ẹni tó jẹ́ pé tẹ́ bá ti rí lójúmọ́ àbí pé ìgbàkígbà tẹ́ bá pàdé lórúkọ Jésù àwọn ní ìṣòro tó ní tẹ́ bá ní ìṣòro ń gbà ẹ kọ́kọ́ gbàgbé wàhálà tàbí ìdààmú tẹ́ ní nípa ẹ̀. So is a very useful somebody to everybody and very respectful.
Ó jẹ́ èèyàn gidi nínú ìjọ yìí ìtì Òkè-Ileri-Oluwa tó bá ṣe nípa ti ìwà wọn wọ́n ṣiṣẹ́ gidigidi nínú ìjọ yìí fún ìdàgbàsókè ìjọ wa. Nínú ìrìn àjò yìí wọ́n jẹ́ ìkan pàtàkì nínú àwọn olóyè ìjọ bí ẹni tí ó ní ìwà ìrẹ̀lẹ̀ ipò wọn ó tọ́ fún iṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n nípa ìwà ìrẹ̀lẹ̀ wọ́n jẹ́ ọ́ṣà nínú ìjọ Ọlọ́run. Àwọn àmúyẹ wọn nípa káláwọ́ sí iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run wọ́n jẹ́ ìkan pàtàkì. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n dẹ̀ kó èèyàn mára. Kò sí àwọn nǹkan tí a ń ṣe nínú ìjọ yìí tí wọ́n fà sẹ́yìn rárá.
He treated issues the way Solomon in the Bible treated issues. I respected him a lot because of the way he attended to issues.
Ó jẹ́ ọmọ fún ìdílé Joseph Taiwo Ọlọ́jàbí, ó dẹ̀ jẹ́ olùbádámọ̀ràn wa. Ó jẹ́ ìkan gbòógì nínú ẹbí fámìlì Ọlọ́jàbí Taiwo.
Tí mo mọ̀ nípa ọ̀gbẹ́ni Adelegan, àjọ wà ní ẹgbẹ́, òun ni ààrẹ ẹgbẹ́ tí mo wà nínú CAC Òkè-Ileri-Oluwa. Èmi sì ni igbákejì wọn nínú ẹgbẹ́ yẹn. So tí mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ nípa wọn ni pé wọ́n kó èèyàn mọ́ra láti gbà tá a ti jọ wà nínú ẹgbẹ́ yẹn, kò sẹ́ni tó ta dànù. Àtọmọdé àti àgbà ló kó papọ̀ nínú ẹgbẹ́ yẹn.
Happily married and blessed with promising children, the staunch Chelsea fan who loves football.
Overhit by Edison, and it is Chelsea who have won the UEFA Champions League 2021.
Music and traveling so much is the Chief Executive Officer of Solomon Ventures, headquartered at number 4 Adura Quarters, Ijoka Road, Akure, the Ondo State capital.